They humiliated him in front of everyone, until the millionaire exposed the shocking truth. The room went silent as two security men dragged Daniel across the marble floor, his employee badge swinging against his gray uniform while hundreds of guests watched him stumble beneath the bright chandeliers. The woman in the expensive pink suit stood directly in front of him, pointing at him with fury as if he were nothing more than a thief who had embarrassed her company. Daniel lowered his eyes, fighting back tears, because he knew that no matter how loudly he protested, nobody in that room would believe a poor-looking maintenance worker over the powerful executives surrounding him. But what none of them knew was that Daniel had been hiding a truth that could bring the entire company crashing down. Daniel had worked at the prestigious Sterling Grand Hotel for nearly 6 years. He arrived before sunrise every morning, cleaned offices, repaired broken equipment, carried boxes, and quietly helped employees who barely remembered his name. He never complained, even when his paycheck barely covered rent and groceries. What people did not see was the reason he worked so hard. He was raising his 10-year-old daughter alone after losing his wife years earlier. Every night, no matter how exhausted he was, Daniel returned home with a smile because his daughter believed her father was the strongest man in the world. He could not afford to let her see how often he was afraid. That afternoon, the hotel was hosting a massive corporate event attended by investors, executives, and wealthy guests. At the center of the celebration was Victoria Hale, the glamorous CEO of Sterling Holdings, a woman known for her ruthless business decisions and enormous fortune. Daniel was working near the executive floor when he noticed something strange. A confidential financial folder had been left open beside a conference room. He immediately recognized the documents as evidence of millions of dollars being secretly transferred from company accounts. Before he could report it, an executive assistant suddenly appeared and accused Daniel of stealing the folder. Within minutes, everything turned against him. Security surrounded him, and Victoria stormed toward him in front of the guests. She accused him of betraying the company and demanded that he be removed immediately. People whispered, some laughed, and others raised their phones to record the humiliation. Daniel tried to explain that he had discovered something dangerous, but his voice disappeared beneath the accusations. One security guard grabbed his arm while another reached for his other shoulder. Daniel looked around the room and saw dozens of people watching him suffer, yet not one person stepped forward. If you believe people deserve kindness, second chances, and the opportunity to prove their worth before being judged, please like this story, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Echoes of Kindness for more stories that remind us never to judge a person by their appearance. Just when Daniel was about to be dragged away, the giant doors at the back of the ballroom opened. A distinguished older man entered slowly, surrounded by several assistants. The room immediately changed. Executives stopped whispering. Victoria froze. Even the security guards released Daniel's arms. The newcomer was Richard Sterling, the billionaire founder and majority owner of Sterling Holdings. He had been away from the company for months recovering from surgery, and almost nobody knew he was returning that day. Richard looked directly at Daniel, then at the executives surrounding him. He did not look confused. He looked deeply disappointed. He walked toward the table where the confidential folder had been placed and calmly asked for the security footage from the previous hour. The footage revealed something shocking. Daniel had not stolen the documents. He had discovered them and tried to report the fraud. The person who had placed the folder near Daniel was actually one of the company's senior executives, working with several others to hide millions of dollars in stolen funds. But Richard was not finished. He revealed an even greater secret. Daniel was not simply a hotel maintenance worker. Years earlier, before his wife died, Daniel had anonymously helped Richard during one of the company's darkest financial crises. Daniel had discovered a serious accounting error that could have destroyed Sterling Holdings. He had refused a reward and asked only that the company keep ordinary employees protected during the crisis. Richard had never forgotten the men who saved his company without asking for recognition. Richard then revealed that he had secretly ordered an investigation months earlier because he suspected corruption within the executive team. Daniel had unknowingly provided the final piece of evidence when he reported the suspicious documents. The people who had humiliated him had actually exposed themselves. Victoria slowly lowered her hand, realizing that the man she had publicly treated like a criminal was the very person Richard trusted most. The room that had once been filled with laughter and judgment became painfully quiet. The executives who had looked down on Daniel could not meet his eyes. Richard ordered the corrupt officials removed and turned toward Daniel with an expression of genuine respect. He offered him a senior position overseeing employee protection and internal operations, but Daniel asked for something else first. He wanted a scholarship program created for employees' children who were struggling financially. Richard agreed immediately. Months later, Daniel's life had completely changed. His daughter no longer worried about whether her father would have enough money for groceries or school supplies. Yet Daniel remained the same humble man. He still walked through the hotel greeting cleaners, security guards, cooks, and maintenance workers by name. He knew exactly what it felt like to be invisible, and he promised himself that nobody working under him would ever feel that way again. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and subscribe to Echoes of Kindness. Sometimes one small act of compassion can change an entire life. Before you leave, comment, "Kindness always wins," if you believe a person's worth should never be judged by their clothes, their job, or their bank account. Because Daniel's greatest victory was not the promotion, the money, or the respect he finally received. His greatest victory was proving that even when the whole world is ready to judge you, staying honest, humble, and kind can eventually reveal the truth. And sometimes, the person everyone treats as worthless is the very person who has the power to save them all.